Turning 18 years old probably has to be one of the most scariest and yet exciting moments of your life. Because I remember when I was 17 going on to 18, one of my buddies at the time, you know, he was already 18, he was an adult. And so what I would do, every time he would like say something remotely aggressive towards me, I would always just be like, whoa, is that assault against a minor? Oh my God, you're gonna go to jail. Because I knew the moment I turned 18, everything was gonna change. Or at least that's just what I thought. Because what you think is gonna happen, right? It's like, oh my gosh, it's over. I'm done. I'm gonna be so crippled and old. I'm gonna be unk status. When I turned 18, my friends that were 17, they were like, oh my God, unk status, you're so old. It's like, dude, shut up. You're gonna be the same way in like a few months. Like, get out of here. So, you know, I just turned 20 recently, about like 2 months ago. I know that's not like the oldest. I'm not like that old, but I feel like I've had enough time in adult life to really get the gist of everything, of like what to expect and everything that you should really know. So what I thought was gonna happen, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have all these rights. I'm gonna be able to do everything. I'm gonna, like, my parents are just gonna let me roam the world because I'm an adult now, legally. I can vote. But what actually happened was far from that. You know, they actually became even more strict. I felt like they were on my ass all the time. It's almost like when you become an adult, your parents just become so much more protective over you.
Which, I mean, it makes perfect sense too. They care about you enough not to let you do something stupid that you'll regret later on. And I'm incredibly lucky and thankful to have parents that care about my well-being. But sometimes I just want to do my own thing. And I feel that I'm being held back from time to time. Yeah, it's gotten way better now that I'm a bit older and I've shown that I can actually take care of myself and not just flop over and die.
You know, because it's like, I thought I was just gonna get all the freedom in the world just like the moment I became 18. Of course, for some people it's different, but my parents, they were just like, no, that's not happening. So really, in reality, what actually happens is that you get two choices, okay? Either it's like you go the college route or you don't. Because really, like how it is, everyone is pressuring you, almost, it feels like. Because I remember like before I graduated, I got the same question asked to me pretty much daily at that point. And it got to the point to where when I got asked that question, I wanted to just, I wanted to just like slap someone. No, I wanted to like, eventually it got to the point where I was like, I want to beat the living fuck. And what the question was, it was like, oh dude, what are your plans? What are your plans for after high school? You gonna go to college? Because everyone, or most people out of high school go to college, they just assumed that I was gonna do the same. I've already talked about my experiences and what it's like, like not going to college route. Even this dude talked about me. I was taken aback when I saw that. That was wild. So it was always like, oh, what college are you going to? And every time I would say that I'm not going to college, people would almost just like look at me funny, like, oh, what? You're an idiot. What are you doing? Like, oh, what are you gonna do then? And I didn't want to tell people that I wanted to do my own thing, because if I told them that, they would have been like, oh, you're stupid. What are you doing? Grow up, kid. Be realistic. Me being like close to 18 at the time, you know, I thought I was the shit. I thought I knew everything. It's like, oh, what? I'm so ambitious. I'm more ambitious than you. I'm gonna achieve everything. Just because you gave up earlier on doesn't mean that you should put that on me right now. But you know, growing up, the older I get and everything, like day by day, the older I get, me turning 20, I thought I had it all figured out. But really, the older I got, the more I realized I didn't know anything. I always hated school. I never liked it. Now, that doesn't mean I sucked at it, because I graduated with a 3.5 GPA. Now, the reason I chose not to go to college is because I don't think school is for me. Senior year was pretty much just like a drag. It was pretty much just a countdown of like, all right, I have this many days of slavery till I'm free. Because for Gen Z, I feel like we're just misguided a lot of the time. I saw a comment the other day. I'm not sure if I'll be able to find it in editing. At least I'll try. But it pretty much said that in the 90s in high school, the teachers just treated you like an adult because you basically were at that point. But now it's like you go to college and it doesn't even feel like you're an adult still. Like everyone still treats you like a kid pretty much. Let's say you choose not to go the college route like I did. I chose not to. What that entailed was I just went straight into work. I was like, okay, I need money. Like I'm broke out of high school. First thing,
What is gonna be the thing that solves all my problems right now?
oh, I know. I need money. That's what I need. I need to get my money up so that I can do things, so that I can get some capital, get my bread up, buy a place, you know, move out, just like enjoy my life. So I did do that. I did that. And then, you know, me being like broke and everything at the time, I was just willing to like work all the time to get as much money as possible. I've talked about this in a few other videos, but just to save you guys time, I was working 40 to 50 hour weeks. And that's not an exaggeration. I can even pull up my time cards from that time to prove it. I was doing all that and I was making decent money. Yeah, I was making like decent money for my age. Since I didn't go to college, I had zero debt. I was making about like $2,000 to $2,500 a month. That's something that I feel like I didn't clarify enough in my life after high school video. That I was making $2,000, but people thought like, oh, it's just $2,000. No, it was really around like $2,200 to $2,500 every month, which is not that much better. But I mean, like for someone that didn't have any money to begin with at the time, going from zero to like 2,000 was like crazy to me. I felt like I was rich, I was balling. But I was with one of my buddies the other day, and he wanted to take me out to his campus that he's just been going to a bunch. If you guys know what UCF is, then pretty much that's where we went. I think I just doxed myself from that. Did I say too much? Might have said too much. Oh well. So pretty much, right, one morning we decided to just go out and run. And you know, me being like a former cross country kid, I was like, oh yeah, you know, how hard can that be? Now keep in mind, I had not ran for like a good year at this time, so I was dying. So we're out there running across the entire campus, and I just had this one thought in my mind, was that even though I didn't go there, I felt like I belonged. Because me working full time at my factory job where I was, or where I still am, I still work there, it's that I felt like I really couldn't relate to everyone. Because, you know, me being so young and like fresh out of high school, everyone else had already been there for like 10 or 20 years at that point. You know, they have kids, they have families, they already have their own bills that they're paying. And so, you know, it really just didn't feel like I can just relate. In the mornings when I would be there at like 7:30 a.m., they would just kind of be like, oh, what? You're tired? But you're young. You shouldn't be tired at all. You should be like indestructible. You should be able to take a bullet to the head and just get up and walk away. It's like, no, that's not how it works. I know it may seem like that to you because you're like in your 50s. I'm like 18 at the time, but you know, being in a job and everything, you have this new standard upon you. You know, you have to take care of yourself, and I feel like that's what a lot of people just don't talk about. One thing that I've noticed that really works with your confidence and everything is taking care of your skin, and that is why I'm proud to announce today's sponsor, Tiege Hanley. I know, guys, they came back for round 2. I can't believe it. Tiege Hanley simplifies the process of taking care of your skin. They give you everything you need and nothing you don't need. For example, they were kind enough to send me this. Look at this. They send you everything. I have a bunch of stuff here, including this thing. Look at this. I got a little scrubber here. Seriously, I still don't think some of you believe me when I tell you how much implementing a quality skincare routine will improve your confidence in all aspects of your life.
Michael Jackson stole my ear, dog.
Especially when you're trying to make a good impression on a first date. I recommend you start with their level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20, and a PM moisturizer. Oh, and to make it dead simple for guys like us, because I'm very dumb, as all of you know, they provide you with this instruction card in every box that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. It definitely comes in clutch. Skincare wasn't always something I took seriously, but now that I have, I wish I would have started sooner. But you don't just have to take my word for it, because they have over 10,000 5-star reviews worldwide. And because Tiege Hanley is so kind enough to sponsor this video, they're giving you guys an incredible deal right here. So if you click the first link in the description, you'll get 40% off your first order, along with a free gift, and plus, as a member, they'll give you 20% off for life. Once again, thank you Tiege Hanley for sponsoring this video. First link in the description and pinned comment. I mean, like, yeah, there's younger people there, but even then, they're like in their later 20s or 30s. Really, like, the conversations I would have with them would consist of, I don't know, like, what's going on TikTok at the time, even though I don't even use TikTok. Like, TikTok, sports. Like, oh yeah, I played Minecraft like 10 years ago. It's like, what am I supposed to do? So eventually, it got really lonely. After high school, I pretty much cut off everyone because I didn't like a lot of the people in my class, okay? And I know some of you from my graduating class, I know some of you have found my channel. So yes, if I stop texting you, that's because I don't like you, alright? Now fuck, because my social life was pretty much gone at that point because I was working these 40 and 50 hour weeks. My day would just consist of going to work, like wake up at 6, be at work by 7:30 in the morning, and then don't leave till like 6 p.m., which is a 10-hour shift. And this is if I had the energy after all that, by the way. If I had the energy, then I would attempt to work on YouTube. So it was a lot for me. And you know, as I made more money, one thing became so apparent to me, and it's that it doesn't matter how much you make or who you are, everyone wants your money. Everyone is out to get you. Everyone wants your money. I've even had people DM me saying like, please buy my service. It's like, no, I don't want it.
It's even the same thing with college, because what is the main thing that you always hear is a byproduct of college? Debt, student debt. And so even from a young age, even from like before you've even graduated high school, like some of them are like emailing people like, hey, come to our college. It's like, please spend money with us, go in debt to us. We want your money that you don't have. But other times it feels like, what other choice do you have?
Everyone else around me, everyone at my workplace, everywhere in town, everywhere I go, everyone is older than me. I'm always the youngest person around. But when I went over there to the college campus, it was like I can fit in with everyone. It wasn't awkward for me to just go up to someone and just start a conversation with them about anything. It was so weird. Part of me wishes that for that aspect I did go to college, because I have no social life pretty much anymore. I've stopped talking to so many people out of high school because I didn't like a lot of them. I couldn't relate to them. My school was so tiny. There was less than 200 kids in my school. My graduating class was 20 kids. It just feels like college has a monopoly on young people. It's like, if you don't go to college, then have fun making friends, because out of high school, it is so much more difficult to make friends. It's like, the only people I really feel like I can be friends with is like my coworkers. But even then, it's like, yes, I could talk to people on the street, but it's like no one's receptive anymore. I don't know why. It feels like this is something that specifically Gen Z has to deal with. It's that more than ever, it just feels like, at least this is how it is in my area, it just feels like more and more people have social anxiety, or like this mass social anxiety. Because I would always hear stories from my coworkers of like, oh, I met my wife just like walking on the street randomly. She just came up and asked me out. To whereas now, you almost would never see that happen at all. Because it's so different nowadays. Because a lot of how people meet now is just online. You know, whether through it's like a dating app, whether it's like through a video game Discord, that's just like how it is now. But even then, that comes with like its own dangers. You know, on dating apps, it's like you meet up with someone, you meet up with a girl, and you have to hope that they're not a killer, or they're gonna kill you or kidnap you or something. And what's crazy to me is that Gen Z, I think, is the last generation to ever grow up without technology. You can say like, oh, what do you mean? Like, we have technology everywhere. Gen Z's addicted to TikTok. Okay, what I mean is, in our early life, right, we would go and play outside just like every other generation, like Gen X, millennials, like all of them. We would go out and play with like the neighbors, you know, with like the neighbors' kids, because that's really all there was to do. And then, you know, as time went on, it's crazy to think that some of my generation didn't even have this. Because I remember going outside and just playing with the neighbors, because that's just what we did. I was like 6. I was like 6 years old. I was like 6 or 8 years old at the time. But now it's like you don't see that anymore. It's so rare to see people just playing outside, whether that's because the world is more dangerous, or it's just there's no reason to, because everyone's online now. And what scares me is that the next generation coming up, Gen Alpha, they're not gonna have any of this. What really made me feel old the other day, even though I'm only 20, I know that I'm super young, but what really made me feel old is that I've talked to people that grew up without box TVs, CRTs. I remember them when I was younger. I remember when I was like 4 years old. I remember playing on like the PlayStation 2 on a CRT. I was playing Gran Turismo 4. And what's even scarier is that the younger generations are getting phones at an earlier age. Like you see the rise of iPad kids, and all these kids having like iPhone 15s and 16s in like first grade or kindergarten. Now, even though it's like turning 18, you feel like you're so old now. It's like, oh my gosh, I can do all these things now. I can go to the club. I can drive. I get my license. I can do anything. I can vote. I don't have to lie about my age anymore. I can sign up to anything without a parent. A lot of people, I don't know why this is the case, but I think it's just because we're so scared of the future. We don't know what's gonna happen. So it's like turning 18 is like both exciting, but also super scary at the same time. Even if you're broke, even if you have a job or a full-time job, or even if you were able to get a job, it doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have. Everyone wants your money one way or another. Whether it's like the bills you have to pay, the money for DoorDash, you can say, or just like getting a new game. Everyone wants your money one way or another. Even the government wants my money. I was so shocked when I turned 18 at the fact that I had to start paying taxes, because that was so foreign to me. I had never done that before. Because, you know, there's always this stereotype of like everyone saying like, oh, young people are just so dumb. 18 to 25-year-olds are just so dumb and stupid. Well, no. I feel like that's what a lot of people get wrong. That's not the case. The reason why a lot of these people aren't as smart as like 30-year-olds is not stupidity, it's inexperience. We haven't experienced life the same way that other people have. Especially now, Gen Z has problems that, you know, Gen X or millennials didn't have to deal with at all. Like, we grew up with technology. We grew up with everything. Like, we saw the rise of YouTube. We saw the rise of TikTok, Instagram, like everything else. So it's all these new problems that no other generation has had to deal with before, at least not at such a young age. Because people like to blame Gen Z for everything. Like, oh, what? This generation is so lazy. They don't want to get a job. They don't want to work. It's like, no, it's not that we don't want to work. It's that some of us can't get a job. And I'm lucky enough that I have one. And I know for the fact, like, the only reason I even have my job is because I had connections to that company, to where I work at. So yes, I'm sorry if we're a little dumb, you could say, inexperienced, because in the end, everyone is going to experience the same thing one way or another. I may have thrusted myself into this life. What I mean by that is like working full time, working a job and everything, doing all that. But I feel like everyone in college, like all my friends in college, they're going to experience the same thing too. I feel like it's just delayed for them, because you always see like all these stories of people that graduate college and then boom, right into the world, right into the real world, just like everyone else. It's like, oh, no more party time. That's over. Get out of here. What? You're enjoying your frat parties? You're enjoying like your college parties? You're enjoying like all of that? Sorry, get out of here. Your youth is over. The older you get, the more responsibilities you have, but I feel like my generation wasn't taught that. I feel like Gen Z wasn't really taught like the proper things on how to deal with a lot of stuff. Like the older generations in high school, they were treated like adults because they were pretty much mature up to that point. But now I feel like a lot of us really can't grow up, whether it's because we're misguided or we're not taught the right way, or maybe you don't have a figure to look up to. So it's like with all these new responsibilities, me doing YouTube and everything, and now I'm working with companies now, and I'm so grateful for that I get the opportunity to do this. But it's like the older and older we get, I feel like the less we know. Because I thought I had it all figured out at 18, like I said earlier, but I'm 20 now. I understand I'm not like the oldest. I know some people on unk status, but I know for others, it's like I'm still pretty much in the balls. I'm not even a fetus yet. I'm still the sperm. It's like, oh, shut up, kid. Your life's just getting started. I know.
Another thing I forgot to mention is that going out isn't really the same anymore as what it used to be. Yes, we have everything that was there in the past and then some, but what I mean is actually having the ability to go out and have fun. Because what is the main thing people always complain about? Even I've complained about this too. It's that everything is more expensive. You know, gone are the days you could go out with $10 in a dream and return with weeks worth of stories. Now you'd be lucky to even be able to get anywhere with 10 bucks.
But that's what scares me, is that because my generation, like Gen Z, is dealing with new stuff before that we've never dealt with, I feel like there's really no actual guidance. That's like both a good and bad thing, because it's like we don't know where to go. We'll figure it out on our own, one way or another. And then we can help the next generation. We can help Gen Alpha. We can guide them through this confusing world that we know and hates or love. But overall, what it's like becoming an adult. It's more responsibilities, more things to deal with, more stuff to handle. And it's stressful. It really is stressful a lot of the time. But I've always had this one thought that has just gotten me through everything in life. Even when it seemed like everything was over, it always just ended up being okay in the end. Because I always told myself, everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Now, until then, I'm gonna go to bed.